This is Rowena Dooley asking Soul citizens to report for duty. Dooley asking Soul citizens to report for duty.
Greetings, and welcome back to Soul Citizens. I'm GriffinGamingRPG, and we are excited to be here with you today. And we want to give a special shout out to New Soul Sounds. Thank you, New Soul Sounds, for the raid right at the intro. I think you guys must have been timing it. You must have had your finger on the button before we came out of our intro. So thank you, raiders, for coming over and hanging out with us. We appreciate you guys. Hope you had a really good stream today, putting out some beautiful music to the Star Citizen community. So hey, happy to have you guys here. Joined today once again by another illustrious group of co-hosts that are going to be sitting in with us today as we cover the topic of Flight Ready. Introducing right next to me will be the one and the only, the man from down under, Kalrati. How are you, my friend?
Hello, Griff. Hey, Nomad, yoyoMeg, and thank you for the tier 1 sub, Thrakazog. It's good to be here. Happy to talk about all the stuff that we have today.
Awesome. Thrakazog, as always, thank you again, definitely. And Royce Darby, thank you for the resub as well. Appreciate that. You guys make sure that you follow New Soul Sounds. They do a stream before us. I think they started a couple hours before us, right now it's 7 o'clock my time, so I'd say 5 o'clock. That means it's 6 o'clock Eastern time. They start on Sunday, so you guys be sure to check out New Soul Sounds, and hopefully we'll be able to drop a little shout out for them in a little bit. Right next to Kalrati, the one and the only, live long and prosper, infinite diversity and infinite combinations. He's dead, Jim. Nomad 1701. What's up?
Hello, everybody. Thank you for being here. I'm glad to be here, and we're gonna have a good show today.
You know what? I have got to come up with some more Star Trek lines there. The He's Dead Jim one was a new one this year, but I always go with either IDIC or something like that. So I've got to do some. I got to do some more homework on my stuff there, so I can be better prepared. And last but not least, one of our favorites, one of the Star Citizen community favorites, the one and the only yoyoMeg. What's up, Meg?
Woo!
Roof.
Nothing much.
Double dogs.
Yeah, double dogs. Woof, woof. Yeah, doing great. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I was gonna say something cool, and then I lost it.
I'm going to ask you a question. This is not in relation to Star Citizen, but I didn't get a chance to ask you before the show. How are you feeling about Skull and Bones now that you've had more time in it?
Oh my gosh, I'm enjoying the heck out of it. I can't lie. Okay. I know there's always gonna be people who don't like certain aspects about the games, but I really am a fan of giving things a try before you poop on it. It is great. If you compare it to Assassin's Creed Black Flag, it's better.
Okay.
Just take out the Assassin's Creed part, the boat mechanics. It is amazing.
Okay.
A lot of grind to it, and there's longevity in terms of offline so like money grinding,
Mhm.
kind of like GTA. I think I haven't played GTA, but the online where you can like have businesses and you're accruing money like over time.
Mhm.
You have to like go around and collect those things, and you can spread across the map, and you have to PvP to do that.
Okay.
It's pretty fun for
Okay.
real. The PvP isn't too crazy. It's challenging, but you can definitely do it. And like sometimes you don't even have to, but yeah, it's great. There's PvE, there's PvP.
And they're still
12
building it
events.
out, right? It's not
Yeah,
done. They're still doing stuff to it, right?
Yeah, so the game is fully out, but this first season starts on Tuesday, I think.
Oh, okay.
I think it's the 27th.
Okay.
So we should get some more stuff, some more content there. But I spent like, I think I played like 120 hours. I did like 60 in the open beta and then 60 on release, and I think I like finished the campaign. I think. So yeah, I'm just waiting right now for season 1 to start.
Okay, cool. All right. Nomad, I'm gonna go to you. You said you were doing a LAN party last night, but is there anything you've been playing in particular, or was it you could tell people about last night if you want to? What were you doing recently in gaming?
Well, recently I've been focusing on trying to work through Starfield.
Okay.
I know it has its issues, but it's it's getting modded,
Mhm.
and I'm just kind of obsessed with trying to finish the game. I'm actually on New Game Plus. So I became, a Starborn, and now when I first became Starborn, I lost all the missions that I wanted to do. I had a whole bunch of them, and they all got wiped out because now you're starting a new game. So now I'm going back to do all of those
Okay.
again, and I've come across a couple of weird missions
Mhm.
that was like weird. There's one mission that was so weird.
Yeah.
It was like all these people from history are being cloned on some planet, and it's like, what is this? So I worked through that story,
Okay.
and
Okay.
so that's how I've been playing and streaming. And then the LAN party last night, I was telling you before, we played some Overwatch, and then we played some what was that game again? Uh, uh,
Oh, the
Lethal
other
Company.
Lethal Company. Yeah. Okay.
That's the first time I had played it. We paid for it last night and
And played
installed it.
Okay.
Because it was only $10.
I think I saw you
And,
playing that last night. I think I saw that under your
yeah.
name. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I think I saw you guys were
Mhm.
were hanging around. I was like, oh,
Yeah.
they're gonna see me playing this. So
Traitor. Okay. Well, that's
yeah,
cool.
we had a blast.
You had a
We
good time.
blast.
That's good. Kalrati, how about you? What you been playing recently? Anything?
Yeah, I've been trying to survive through Dead Space. This is my second time
Ooh.
officially playing it.
The new one? I mean, the remake or the first?
No, I had the first one just there in my Steam library.
Okay.
And I told myself at the beginning of this year that I'll actually start finishing.
Yep.
I'll actually do all of my single player games
Okay.
in Steam to actually say, hey, I don't have all of these games in the backlog. I've never touched them. So I actually wanted to finish them. So I've reached D and I'm playing Dead Space, and there's a reason why I never played it back.
I know that's the truth because I could never get through it. I need to do that. I just need to play with you or watch you because I get too spooked out. Because the problem is I play at night, and playing at night is like the worst thing in the world with playing Dead Space. So, that's the worst. If you want to freak yourself, only thing worse than that is freaking Alien Isolation. I mean,
that's exactly what I was gonna say. I had to stop.
Yeah.
I had to stop playing at night.
I didn't.
Scared it.
Yeah.
I played Alien Isolation, and that was another level.
Oh.
Well, that's good. Okay, well, it sounds like you're having fun with it. I'm serious. I might have to watch you do because I don't know if I keep every time I go back to it, I get to a certain point, I just can't go further. So, and the remaster looks so good, I wanted to try it, but it's like I didn't do the first one. I got the first one. So anyway, all right.
Charles CID for the
yes. Charles, thank you as always. Thank you. All right, well, you guys got to recap on what everybody's been up to, and I'm still doing Jedi Fallen Order. I didn't get to play at all this week, and just like you, Kalrati, I'm you guys know I'm a big Star Wars fan, and I did all the other planets, and then they sent me to Dathomir, which is the planet of the witches, and I was like, I really don't feel like dealing with this right now. So I got into the very beginning of it, and then it was like, okay, I got to stop for a bit. But I didn't mean to take off. I usually try to play no more than 3 days go by. So hopefully tomorrow I'll get some playtime. Maybe tonight if I'm feeling up to it. But anyway, I'll get back to that. So anyway, guys, we are here today to talk about Flight Ready. Once again, thanks for being here with us. If you want to know what this show is about, this is going to be kind of more of a personal show. What I told the hosts today is that they're going to be sharing what they do in the game and how they do it. Now, this is not like they're saying this is the best way to do it. Star Citizen is a very what's the word I want to say, subjective game in some ways. You know, CIG is trying to be very deliberate about avoiding metas. Sometimes metas arise. That's just because we're still in the testing, but they want the game to have a certain level of balance. You know, you don't want to have that one thing in the ship that or in the game that nobody uses because everybody knows that thing is terrible. And we do have some things in the game like that. I know there are very few people, Nomad, that I see flying around their Misk Reliant, you know, or the Tana is their fighting ship of choice. Now there are people that do, but you know, it's just not one of those ships that's highly rated. You know, and CIG wants to make things very skill based. They don't want ships to be just completely, you know, OP. But it's a task to take as many ships as we have and as many categories as we have, and try to create a game that is both based upon skill, but also the potential of a particular vehicle or weapon or armor or whatever. So today, Kalrati, Nomad, and Meg are going to share with you how they play the game and why, maybe even why they pick some of the things that they do. And we're going to talk about some things that are coming in the future as well. So buckle up, get you something to snack on, because this is going to be kind of one of those intimate conversations with everybody talking about the things that they enjoy. So let's go ahead and what are we doing? We're going to go here. And we're going to get rid of that. And we're going to go to our very first thing here, which is called Base of Operations. What's your boo? Meg, I want to know what your boo is. Not who your boo is. Not who your boo is. But let me explain what Base of Operations is, because the panel knows what this is about. Base of Operations is, as you guys know, when you start Star Citizen, you're asked at the very beginning to set up a base, right? Where you want your home to be. And for right now, when you pick from one of the 4 planets. We don't know how this is going to be in the end later on. You know, we do know that right now they're working on other systems. So I'm just going to give you a scenario. This is not, I'm not saying this is what's going to happen, y'all. I'm just saying this is a scenario. We know that right now we have several jump point places in the game. We've got Pyro, we've got Terra, we've got Magnus. And so maybe later on the situation will be that when you decide to pick your home, you will now pick a system as well. You won't just everybody be in one system, or maybe the systems will be like a core set of systems, and maybe those systems are all interconnected like these 4 systems are. And from there, you spread out into the game. I don't know if CIG will ever let us say, well, I can pick some system way out where. I think that maybe they will have core systems, and all of those systems are connected to each other. And maybe if you're Kalrati's like, hey, I want to live in a super safe system, so spawn me in the Terra system.
Blasphemy.
Yeah, I know. Meg may be like, hey, you know me, cutthroat pirate, drop me in Pyro, boom. And Nomad may say, hey, you know what? I built all my money in Stanton this time. They've been good to me, the Hurston family. Put me in Stanton. But right now, they're just going to tell you right now where they base. And of course, panel, if you guys know in the future, because you've done your lore homework and there's some system that you are interested in, then feel free to share that too. But for right now, let's just talk about where you set up your base of operation in the game right now when you spawn into the game, and why. So let me go to, I'm going to start with Kalrati this time, since I started with Meg with games. Kalrati, why don't you go ahead and kick us off?
Yeah, sure. So I go straight to Orison, actually. Mainly because of 2 things. It usually has to do with, okay, if I want to operate around Grimhex, then I'll go spawn it at Orison, and I'll buy my system components, whatever I can get. Can't remember the name of the store right now, even though I always go to it. And Orison,
She's a Cousin Crows.
Yes, Cousin Crows. And then I go straight up Seraphim, my stuff there. Okay. And I would either stay there or go to Grimhex immediately. But I also usually like frequenting around Crusader, because I always I'm tending to also do the repel raid missions on Orison. I'm actually enjoying those, doing them by myself, with 1 or 2 people. But just to see how far I can get in terms of doing those, again and again and again and again and again, without needing to heal and all those things. So that's where I normally tend to set up. Otherwise, if I'm doing salvaging, I will go straight to Crew L5. And I'll transfer all my stuff there, because I tend to normally do, asteroid-based salvaging. And just live out in the dark there. So yeah.
Okay, cool. Nomad, how about you? When you sign into the game for the first time and they say pick a home, Where do you go and why?
I tend to gravitate toward microtech.
Okay.
Even though it's a bit of a time sink trying to get from the Habs all the way to the, it's such a big place, but I just like that atmosphere. My dream is to have an atmosphere, that environment, but in a lush tropical, warm place. But I don't know if there's any plans for that. Someday there will be something like that in some system somewhere. But something about the vibe of microtech that I really like.
I think it's because that they've got a cappuccino machine there and they don't have one on Hurston. I think that might be what it comes down to, right? And you got all the young people running around, helps you feel like you're young, when you're running around the stations and everything, right?
Yeah. It's an interesting place, and I love going down. I tend to hang out at Wally's Bar.
Okay.
Listen to the music.
Yeah.
Someday they'll have a mix of music. That would be cool.
Yeah. Absolutely.
But I just like the vibe of that whole place. It's just something about it that speaks to me.
Okay.
And, yeah.
I think it's just because you're a tech head. That's all,
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
they got an Apple store downstairs.
Right,
they got an Apple store downstairs too. So what the heck, Okay. Meg, what about you? When you pick home, when you log in for the first time, where do you go?
I mean, speaking of tech, I always go for that cedar Moby glass. I don't know about y'all. Y'all ever pick up?
You pick out your color.
Moby glasses
your colors. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'll go for the reddish one.
Okay.
Purple.
Yeah.
I gotta go purple. I gotta go purple and the platinum, the chrome one, whatever that one is called, titanium or whatever.
Yeah. I have over the past probably year and a half, I've been frequenting Orison and going to Cruel 1 and setting up my base there. But since Seraphim's come out, it's pretty much Seraphim. But I did choose New Babbage as my base this time.
Okay.
I used to start off in New Babbage and then switch to Orison. Same as like Kalrati, doing bunker missions and towers. And Cruel 1 has the suppressor size 2. So I'll just, if I die, respawn there, get geared up again. Has my favorite tactical armor, because I like looking good. Okay. So Cruel 1 has everything for me, and as well as if I want to go mining or anything like that. But yeah, I set up at New Babbage again. I like how quick it is to get some things and get land vehicles, get everything set up, and then usually I'll most likely be back to Seraphim, and then I just use the hospital to reset and backspace to microtech whenever I want to be out there.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah,
fair enough. Well, for me, it's, as you guys probably know, it's R Corp. No other reason to be there other than my wife, Twitch Pacheco, is there, so we can move on to the next subject. No, I'm just kidding. No, actually, I do like being at R Corp. But like you, Meg, I like the weapon shop that's there. Mostly all the weapons I like using can be bought from there. Some of the weapons that I really prefer now are lootable weapons, so I can't get them anymore. But I used to be able to get them at that particular station. But I've stayed there since then. And I think maybe just because I've gotten used to it. I do find it interesting that none of us picked Hurston. And the reason why I'm saying that, I'm not picking on Hurston. If Colossal was here, he probably would think that I'm picking on his home, Lord of the Sith. But the reason why I say that is because Hurston is the one planet that's strategically located. You can get everywhere very quickly from it. And so what that says to me is, it's not that we weren't thinking about strategy. It's just that we all kind of pick places that, even though we know that may be physically, strategically faster to get somewhere, these other places offer something to us that we're willing to take that compromise. Because traveling from Microtech to Crusaders, 59 million kilometers, if I'm not mistaken. From R Corp to New Babbage is 57 million kilometers. I mean, these are big jumps. When you're at Hurston, you're talking 33, 31 million kilometers in distance range, and that's almost 50% difference in traveling time. So all of us have picked locations that we're willing to sacrifice. Also, Hurston's lore is interesting, and I think that's another thing. If you're interested in combat, Hurston's lore, they don't want their people to be armed. So you're not going to have a lot of weapons and stuff available to you there, which also in some ways or other forces us to be at these other locations too. But for me, it's R-Corp, one, because I enjoy mining in the belt from that side. I know a lot of people like doing it from the Crusader side and Microtech side, but I like doing it from the R-Corp side. And I think I've just gotten really familiar with that space there. And I'm also looking forward to what we saw happen in Loreville, where we saw the revamping of Loreville. I'm looking forward to, CIG has told us that they're going to be redoing R-Corp. And so I can't wait to see when there's an Area 16, Area 7, Area 18 and stuff later too. So I'm anticipating that. But yes, definitely because of Twitch Pacheco.
I'm guessing you go to Arkel 1 and Arkel 2 to dump your stuff. I'm just curious.
You know what? That's the other thing for mining. I do use them. Yes. I kind of favor Arkel 1 a little bit more because that's the direction I go to when I go in the belt. Sometimes if the refineries go down, then I end up going to L2 to go there. But I just like being over that way for some weird reason. I don't know and the other thing is too, I have alts. So my second alt is based out of New Babbage, and my third alt is based out of Orison. So it's not like I really feel like I'm missing out too much, but my main is definitely out of there. So yeah,
I'll keep that in mind to say hi to you.
Yeah, I'm sure you will. I'm sure you will. Don't worry, you won't find me. Trust me, you will not find me. I've been pirated once. Let me make sure I say this right.
That's only the beginning.
I have only been pirated once in 10 years. Once. I've been attacked and destroyed no more than 10 times in 10 years.
Okay. We'll see if you can change that.
See, I'm an old Eve player. You got to remember, you gonna see if you're gonna change it. Okay, yeah, all right, yeah. Keep waking up in the morning for that one. All right. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. Okay. I probably just made a target for myself now. Now that's going to be the challenge. Just how many times we can kill Griff in the game, right? Okay, so let's go into this next topic here. Let's talk about space. And this time I'm going to start back with you. This time I'll start with you, Yo-Yo. When it comes to space, is there a particular, and you kind of touched on it a little bit, is there a certain orbital station? Because some people do this. I do this. Yeah. I start at Area 18. And you know how everything kind of gets thrown back to your home base when you get started, all your components and weapons. I load up everything, get it on the ship, and then I take all my ships up to Bajini. And then that's where all my stuff is. So I'm not having to go down to the atmosphere whenever I want to get in the game. So do you do that same thing? Do you kind of keep some things at certain stations? Do you stay at a certain station if you're not down in your home place? That's for Meg.
Yeah. I normally load or deliver everything, which I really think that CIG should allow the ability to put paints on the ship just from
wherever you're at.
That or just like not needing to deliver it to do it. That kind of wastes that delivery and just moots like the point that they made to put that into the game, in my opinion. But like everybody, you'll see a lot of people doing that start of a patch, delivering all of their ships, putting all their paints on, and then leaving with one, and then going and pulling all their ships to like the station, like you're saying, which is what I do. I'll deliver everything, put all my paints on, stock everything up, and then go up to the station, call all of them, and then go on my way with what I'm doing for the day.
Okay.
Yeah. I usually
go ahead.
I frequent Seraphim now. I used to do Creole 1. I'll probably like go there, grab like 100 suppressors, and then come back to Seraphim just because it's quicker.
Okay.
For the loops that I normally run.
Gotcha. Okay. Nomad, how about you? Any particular orbital station that you work out of?
Yeah. Since I like to be at Microtech and New Babbage, I just go straight up to Tressler.
Okay.
And then kind of like set myself there.
Okay.
Because after a couple of long tram rides back and forth to get to the station, it's like, you know what? I need to get smart. So let me settle in up at Tressler, so that when I do have to respawn, it's just a quick back to the ship terminals and out.
Yeah.
So that's usually my little thing there. To New Babbage, Tressler, and then out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Kalrati, you?
Yeah, definitely Seraphim for me. In fact, when I actually leave Orison, what I've been doing for every reset, I would normally buy, they sell up to 2 SCU cargo boxes at the store.
Mhm.
So I would normally just buy approximately 10 is all I usually need, 10 to 12. And I'll just load all my stuff up there. And I'll actually take them either in my Hull A or my Taurus, which I currently have right now from India.
Okay.
I'll just fly all the way up.
Oh,
It can
look
seem
at
a bit
you.
daunting sometimes, but it's a nice experience. you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, so I do all that, and then I unload my stuff, and I store my my cargo boxes in anticipation for the persistent hack. Especially since I don't think, especially where my home base is, in this case it's Orison, especially with respect to the first version of persistent hangars and how every other hangar is going to be instanced. I don't see myself moving too far away from my mainland. If it's Orison for 323, it's probably going to be Seraphim.
Interesting. You know, I found it interesting that you said, I almost thought you were going to say that you loaded everything up in your, I was expecting you to say your C1. I'm impressed that you decided to go with the Hull A, because a lot of people see the Hull A as a ship with great vulnerability, which I don't think it is, but people feel that way about it.
It's so exposed.
Yeah, I mean, it's risky to take all your stuff anyway, you know, but I kind of do something similar with the boxes as well. But that's interesting. Let me ask you guys another question, since we're talking about from home base on a planet to the orbital. Have any of you guys timed what your run is from bed to spaceport? Because I can tell you at ArcCorp, it's literally, if you make the run and the train is there, it's about just a little over 3 minutes. It's not as long as it feels. So I'm curious, have you ever timed yourself from bed to spaceport to see how long it actually takes?
I've heard that, I think it's ArcCorp that has the fastest bed to ship time.
Yeah.
It could be Houston. I thought it was ArcCorp though.
Okay. Yeah, try it out and see next time when you go. Time yourself and see how long. And sometimes, because, you know, everybody here except for Meg has been around for quite a while. Meg, I don't know if you ever heard about how long the trains used to take when we first got them, like at Hurston. Did anybody ever tell you about that? How long were the train waits? About 5 minutes, guys?
If you said you have to like go to the kitchen, use the bathroom or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, it was like literally like 5 minutes, 5-6 minutes. It was a while. If you saw that train pull out, you were mad, you know. And so they've cut it down dramatically.
I'm mad now, and it's like 20-second wait. I'm humbled.
Yeah, it's changed dramatically. Okay. All right. Let's talk about systems in space. Right now, we only have one system. But I am going to ask you guys, we know that I just named 3 other systems right now. I forgot to name one other one. I saw some people in chat put it in, was Nyx. But we've heard about Nyx. We've heard about Pyro. We've heard about Terra. We've heard about Magnus. But there are, you know, literally on the star map, dozens and dozens and dozens of systems in the game. When you decide that you want to settle down, is there a system that you see yourself either settling down in, or that you think this is going to be where I'm going to be doing a lot of my stuff at? You know, whether it's combat or whether it's mining or trade. You know, is there anything in particular? And Kalrati, I'll start out with you on this one.
Yeah, sure. So, you know, I've been immediately thinking of 3 systems. That's, well, in the immediate run, of course, Pyro. I'm really looking forward to the different diversity there when we can go back to it. But I've also been thinking of 2 things that are almost completely opposite. That's Hades and Helios. So Hades, because of how the lore is talked about, you know, how it's dark and how
it's spooky.
It's really spooky. But then Helios, you know, after seeing the demonstration of the wave system and the physics and everything, and how they're able to make those waves propagate a lot more effectively, you know, it took me back to the lore talking about, I can't remember which specific planet it is in the Helios system, where the waves are extremely high. And,
Instead of
stellar. Way back, yeah, and you know, back then I was kind of wondering how they're even going to do this, you know. But now, after seeing those waves propagate, it's making me really excited to live in, or you know, in that system, and by extension, on that kind of planet to experience that. So, different biomes, of course, and different environments, purposes and experiences. So, those are the kinds of systems that I'm looking forward to living.
Okay, fair. Nomad, how about you?
I want to go to whatever system is going to allow me to safely transport materials and goods.
Okay.
Because I want to put my until exploration comes in, until I can have a use for data running for my good old MSR behind me. And that's one of the reasons why I went ahead and besides just falling in love with it, I went and got a C1.
Okay.
Because I want to just transport goods in a safe and orderly manner. And so that's not going to be the new system that just came out. It's not going to be a lawless system. I'm going to go someplace where I could just basically do commerce and transport cargo and goods.
Okay, sounds good.
I mean, no matter if you want, I could always, be your escort for a little fee.
Oh, sure.
But you got to pay me on time.
Oh boy!
Oh, I know.
Boy. Meg, how about you? Any place in particular you interested in? Did we lose Meg?
Uh-oh.
No, I'm muted.
Oh, okay.
No, I am a weenie when it comes to lore.
Okay. What type of place then? Give us a type of place that you would like to be in. Would you like to be someplace very peaceful, lawful?
Yeah. So I'm actually with Nomad earlier when he was talking about something more tropical.
Okay.
I don't know, if a place with a planet that's tropical. I'd love to live there or be around places like that are more beautiful to look at, less deserted, desolate. Definitely some form of UEE or some sort of governing body there.
Okay.
I do like PvE over PvP. I'll do PvP, but I guess it honestly depends as well. Like if I'm by myself, like in the systems now, when we do get the choice between Stanton and Pyro, I could see myself frequenting Stanton. But if I'm with people, I'll go to Pyro 100%.
Okay.
So I think it's just really gonna depend my answer on if I have like a dedicated friend group or org that's gonna be playing whenever we get these systems. But yeah, definitely peaceful, but I'm ready for war.
Okay. All right. Okay. I'm looking at probably Goss. We've joked around about Goss before. Well, I have a little bit of affinity toward Terra because Origin is there, but Goss probably because Goss has this really weird lore about it being a place where the military guys from the UEE come when they're on break. And there's gambling, there's entertainment, there's clubs, things of that nature. But there's also a vacation. Matter of fact, Jay just put it in there. There's a it's a resort place, So I'm kind of looking forward to that as well. And I am curious about Hades as well, Kalrati. The ghosts that's supposed to be out there and all this other stuff. So I'm curious to go out there with friends though. That's not by myself, that's for sure. I'm too scary. But I am curious to see if Star Citizen will introduce things like that at that level in the game where there are certain type of phenomena that happen that go along with the lore of an area. Because sometimes it's not necessarily about trade or mining, things of that nature, but it may just be because certain things happen in areas like that type of phenomena that would just make you a curiosity to go to, and maybe you experience it, maybe you don't. Maybe Kalrati goes and he tells me he went to this certain place and something happened. I go there and absolutely nothing happens, right? I would just love to see if they actually build it out that way, which I think would be pretty cool.
Dead Space all over again in Star Citizen.
Here you go. Yeah, something else to ruin me. Okay, and let's talk about ships in space. Is there a particular go-to for you? I know you can change up ships for a lot of different reasons. Don't get me wrong. If you're going to do this, you take a medical ship. If you go to this, you take a fire. But I'm just talking about if out of all the 140 plus ships or 60 plus ships that we have in the game, what is your go-to ship in the game? And I'll go to Meg this time first. Meg, what do you got?
Pisces Rescue.
Really?
Yep.
Wow.
It is 100% without a doubt the ship I use the most.
Okay.
I'm loving the C1 Spirit. I'm loving the Ares Inferno. I can't wait for the Apollo Medivac. But definitely the Pisces Rescue.
Okay. And if you don't mind me asking, the reasons are because
small, quick.
Okay.
Agile. Medical bed.
Okay.
shared storage, which is huge. I mean,
Yeah, that's a good
my
point.
MSR doesn't have shared storage.
Yeah. Yeah, the shared storage
yeah.
is important. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And a lot of people don't even know it's on there, which is really funny to me. I was just doing some missions not too long ago with some people, and I was telling them it's in the shared storage bin, and they're like, what shared storage bin? I'm like, the shared storage. And then they're going over into the personal store. No, the other. They didn't know. You know, a lot of people don't know that some ships do have shared storage that everybody can access. Nomad, how about you? Which ship is your ship go-to ship?
MSR.
MSR.
I just,
Still.
When I try to, when I decide I'm going to log out in a ship instead of at a station or at on the ground, I bed log in, put myself in a safe space, and log in my MSR. It's a nice, comfy ship. That's of course it's my Millennium Falcon, my dream ship, and so I tend to kind of want to live on that ship because it's so livable. It has the little break room, and it has beds, and I could put a vehicle in it, and it's just kind of like a home away from home, a little Winnebago type of a thing.
Well, I'm glad you said that because I neglected to include that in the criteria. So I do want to go back to Meg a little bit here. There is that time when you will have to have a ship that you'll want to, bed log in or live in. And is that the ship that you would do, your MSR? Is that the one you would do it in?
Me?
No, Nomad.
Oh.
Yes.
That is okay for you. All right, Meg, let me go back to you then. If there's that ship that you're actually living in, I mean, you could do it in that ship. Nothing against it. I'm just saying, would it still be that ship?
Does it have to be ships that are in game now?
No.
My dream is the Odyssey.
Oh.
But yeah, I mean, I love the MSR. I'm salty since there are no crew bed logging anymore, so I just don't see like a need for a ship that has multiple beds. I'm a very like solo, big ships are too thick type of player. So like maybe the C1 C1V MSR. This is a great. We're not arguing, we're chatting right now. Like that C1 is so beautiful for like there's not a lot you have to get through. It's very simple.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, I mean, I love both ships.
Yeah.
I think, I mean, and that being said too, like if I choose the Pisces, it's like I can't hold a vehicle. I can't do a lot of other things. That's why I love the MSR.
I saw a guy in
huge
chat
cargo grid.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I saw a guy in chat here saying that the MSR needs a secondary entry point. I don't know if we're ever going to get that, but yes, I absolutely agree. That would make it absolutely perfect.
Yeah. They've been talking about it, so we'll see if it happens. I know the community's been definitely asking for that. Not just that ship, but several other ones too. Yeah, you know what? I forgot Danger Hobo. Thank you. I wasn't thinking about the fact that you can't do that, as far as I know of, in the med bed.
Yeah, I know. I normally make my way back to a port regardless of the ship that I'm using. I think that might be why I can't say like a yes or no or choose a ship, just because I actually prefer just making sure things are good.
Yeah.
Not necessarily with in regards to like server stability and is it going to crash my account for multiple days or weeks like it has before. It's really just like I want to make sure I get everything offloaded. Things are looking good. I can log out here, come back in, and I don't know.
Cool. Makes sense. It makes sense. Yeah. Kalrati, how about you? Ship of choice, and just take into consideration the one that you can bed log in or whatever.
So to tie in those two things, I'm gonna have to say the Vulture. I have not used a ship in space, especially one that is of that size, so extensively as I have with the Vulture. When I was doing my salvage runs and those things, no matter where I was, I would always do the work and just log out in the Vulture, and it's been so relaxing because you just have to get out of bed.
I know.
Do your operations. They're pretty much the salvage missions are pretty much anywhere. And if you want to go on the ground or salvage in space, you can do your stuff there. If you wanted to use a vehicle like a bike or even a tumbrel or so, then you can always, of course, you can sell your salvage stuff, then load it up after and just use it. It's been such a lovely, lovely ship. That I'll definitely have to go back to it if it's, for example, if I'm flying by myself, for instance.
Okay. But
definitely I'd have to say the Vulture.
That's an interesting pick. I know I know the feeling that you're talking about though, because I've been out doing salvaging and I've had a wreck that was really big and something came up where I needed to stop. And it was literally nice. I knew I'd lose the salvage, but it was nice to know that I could just get into bed and just, that was it. And it was done deal. And then it's always weird when you wake up and you realize that you logged out on your ship, because sometimes you get so used to logging in at stations and planets. It's like, oh shoot, I'm on my prospector, oh yeah. So I like that. Even when I'm mining, sometimes I'm only at 40% capacity, and instead of taking the ship in, it's just log right here, come back, finish mining, go back with 100. And I'm always curious about how many players are doing that too, because I think sometimes players forget. They get so used to, especially if you came out of a game like Eve, you just get so used to going back to station all the time, and you actually forget that I can log out right here. I don't have to go back to station, unless you're doing like Meg, because sometimes your inventory stacking up, you're getting a lot of stuff in. I need to offload this stuff. I do that too. But we're going to see more of that as we move further, because when we start getting out into deep space where there are no stations, or it's just not worth spending the time to jump all the way back, a lot of us are going to be doing bed logging later on. So
we also nice. Sorry.
Okay, go ahead.
I was gonna say it's also nice because you can get geared up, and once we get like the hangars coming through, like you can get your ships geared up for other events. Like I'll have like a C1 with 2 or 3 rocks inside of it, just like ready to go for mining in the future. And even being able to just like log out with those in your ship anywhere, like you were saying, is really nice.
Now, do you guys set up your ship? I do this whenever we have a patch thing. I spend the next 48 hours putting components back in and restocking ships. I mean, my ships have their weapons in the racks and everything. If you go on my Carrack, all those weapon slots are filled up. I mean, I do that every time. Awesome. Now my question is, have you guys started doing that as a discipline? Like kind of knowing what configuration, like Meg, you were just saying, like maybe, if you're using a Connie, there's only 2 gun racks on there. What are the 2 guns I'm going to always know that are on my Connie? Or I've got 8 on here. I know I'm like, sometimes I'll do 2 P4s, 2 P6s, 2 shotguns and 2 of this. I mean, have you guys started thinking about it from that? Are you starting to do that, or are you still waiting to see how things go? I'll go to Nomad first on this one.
Oh yeah, definitely. The last time I played, which was a little while ago, but I remember I made a conscious effort to start doing that. That was like one of the last things I did the last time I played. Is like, I really have to start organizing things in my ships, putting weapons, because up until that point, I've just been horrible at logistics and getting stuff that I need on board my ship, and I was like, what, I one day I actually logged in just to start to figure out how I'm going to start to do that, and start getting these weapons here, this even food items, medipens, start stocking my ships with like an inventory, and starting to make and be mindful of it, and next time I'm in, I'm gonna really put more effort into doing that.
Okay, cool. Meg, how about you? Are you doing certain ships where you definitely in your inventory, your ship, whether they're in the racks and that doesn't make a difference, do you keep a certain inventory of things, like you're in your Pisces, you always have these things in there?
I'm not with the Pisces.
Okay.
I do normally try to have like a bunch of stuff on me, and then like I'll probably store it in the ship, so maybe that's the same thing. But a lot of medical stuff, drinks, food, double dogs, But when I'm in other ships, yes, I've been trying to whenever it's a new patch, like I was saying earlier, like the rocks inside the spirit, taking like a Valk down to bunker missions or like whatever ship, and using those weapons, taking those weapons from the bunkers and bringing them back, instead of just like buying everything. But like you're not even able to buy everything, like the FS9s, for example. And oh my gosh, did y'all see the guns that the people are dropping in the new missions? I don't know if it came over to the PU. I haven't tested in PU yet from EPTU. That new like wave, or not wave, but like 1 of 5, the bunker. You have to like do data, like upload data, and like make sure the servers are cooling.
Okay, what are they dropping?
They're dropping. Okay, now I'm forgetting. Demikos. They're dropping Demikos.
Oh yeah.
Demikos. How do you say it?
Yeah.
So I'm gonna start doing that now. Like you can't buy those, so it's great. Like there's an assured place you can get these things and start stocking up. Yeah. Every seat has a Demiko, or maybe like the left side has something, right side has the other. Yeah. And yeah, I know people suck up their carries and stuff, but I've tried to do that. Or just make sure I have my set of stuff, bunch of ammo, things like that from bunkers. But
nice. Kalrati.
I'm
Go ahead.
I'm excited to hear. Sorry, I know he's already going to talk, but I'm excited to hear what he has to say, especially if it's about the Vulture.
Yeah, so the Vulture, in addition to two of the ships that I usually frequent with, for the Vulture, I usually go with a P6LR and a P4 AR. Mainly because, for example, if I'm doing, let's say I'm doing a salvage mission, but I just, before going back to the base, or if I haven't really gotten or seen any kind of salvage missions that are of my liking or aren't too close, and I'll just do like bunker missions,
Right.
or those on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
As a result, especially if the ones are if they're open, I would tend to typically use some of the long range weapons like the 6LR or the SR-71 or the S-71.
Yep.
Yeah, S-71.
Those are my weapons. Those are my two.
Yeah, and I would sometimes have not the R97, but the C-54 as a backup. But that P6LR and the P4 AR are typically the ones that I normally go with, no matter what the ship may be. And then I have a backup like the C-54 or the S-71. So those are my typical ships. I don't actually go with suppressors because, hey, if you see me, then cool. We're just gonna go gun.
Yeah,
I'm surprised you don't use suppressors for the tower missions.
No, I've never used suppressors in a long time.
Wow, interesting. Yeah, I used to
so easy.
C-54 used to be my go-to, also because you used to find them just all over bunkers back in the day, so it was easy to get the ammo. Then I went from that to the P6s, and I used that for the longest time. And then I totally shifted into the S-71 recently, along with either a P6 or my secondary one would be an AO3. I'll go to that too. But having that extra range, especially just being able to see distance, is always great. And what else was it? There was one other thing when you just mentioned. Oh, I'm also a big fan of the Aztec and the Uberovs. If you get the bunkers and when you've got several people standing around each other and you hit them with that, it zaps them all at the same time. And it has great range on it. The Aztec rifle does. A lot of people don't use it because they don't like it, but I love that thing. Okay, so that was it on ship. Oh, my ship, still to this day, Origin 100 series, the 135C. It's got cargo space in it. And also the fact that its fuel efficiency is ridiculously good. It has that air system in it, so you don't burn off a lot of hydrogen, and it's fast, zippy, like Meg was saying about the Pisces. In and out of atmosphere, no time flat, small footprint, small target to be shot at. Love it, love it, love it, love it. So I'm still on that ship to this day. This is my jump around ship. Okay, let's move on to our next one here. We're talking about ground now. I don't know why I've got orbital there, because that shouldn't say orbital. That should say planet. Let's talk about if there's any particular moons, planets, anything like that. It shouldn't say orbital, so I'm going to change that you like going to. You mentioned about bunkers, for example, Kalrati, so maybe there's a particular place that you prefer going. Maybe it's just because it's a beautiful place and you like going there, or you're looking forward to what's going to happen in those particular areas. So let's go to Nomad. I'm going to start with you this time on this one. When it comes to ground, is there any particular moon, planet, whether we have it in the system or not right now, that you are interested in?
Not really. I just go where they send me.
Okay.
Whatever mission. That's honestly, I've never really thought about a favorite place to go other than base of operations.
Okay.
But no, usually just where do you want me to go, and I'll go, and do whatever mission is there.
Mm-hmm.
But that's interesting,
Mm-hmm.
And but if there were a place, I would opt to go to that tropical paradise. I really would. I want my tropical paradise somehow, somewhere.
Okay. Now let me ask you a question. I mean, how did you feel when they started implementing? Since you mentioned you're at, New Babbage with Microtech, when they put in the rivers. I mean, the reason why it's not what you're talking about, it's got beautiful flowers and great landscapes, but it's also freaking 30 below zero. So that's kind of the kicker there, right? But I mean, would you want to see something that's a lot more lush than that, barring the temperature? Okay.
Absolutely. I want to live in, Hawaii.
Okay.
I wish there was, a place that looked like New Babbage, but in a lush tropical. And I've said this before, but in a lush tropical atmosphere. I want to see toucans or alien toucans,
Okay.
flying around, and it's just like, I would love that. I would love that.
Okay. All right.
Mhm.
Well, probably the two cancers we'll have will probably bite your nose off if you
Yeah,
if you probably have one of those. But yeah, I get where you're going.
Yeah.
Meg, I'm gonna go to you next on that. Any particular planet or moon that you like going to right now to do things?
I like going around Daymar.
Okay.
I like taking like screenshots and stuff around there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I really like the colors.
Now, Daymar still has the wrecks there too, though, right? Aren't there the wreck? Isn't that where the wrecks are? So you've got is the Javelin wreck still there? It is, Kalrati?
Yeah,
the big one. Have you seen it there, Yo-Yo?
Yeah.
Okay. And the 600i? I can't remember. It's been so long since I've done those missions. Jeez.
The 600i, yeah.
The 600i
And
mission is
MSR.
there, right? Okay. And the MSR.
Yeah, it's the same site.
Wait a minute, it's the same site? The 600.
Yeah, the 600i is like in the ground, split in half. The MSR is like a little bit away.
A little bit further away. Okay. I thought you meant like literally.
It's like the
at
same area.
site,
Like
same
you could
area.
walk to it.
Gotcha. Okay. Gotcha. Okay. All right. Fair enough. Kalrati, how about you? Planet or moon? Whether in the system now or not?
Before I say that, coincidentally, I completely forgot about that mission with respect to the 600i mission, and I always told myself that I would go back and do it a second time, and then I forgot. So now that you remind me. But yeah. So currently, for some reason I'm really liking the POIs around Orison again, because I really like moving through those zones. Repel raid missions. But other than that, two distinct places and biomes specifically that I really like. That's the one on Aberdeen. I've always been in love with that dead kind of atmosphere, where it's all bleak and foggy and those things.
And you don't know if you're going to crash when you go down. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. And I also like how they have increased the forestry around Microtech.
Yes.
So
yes.
We really like that. And I remember doing one mission. I can't remember the specific name of the POI. That's where the
which
claimer,
Ghost Hollow. Ghost Hollow.
Yes, Ghost Hollow. And I landed my vulture there, and I was taking out the perfect ship or perfect vehicle for the vulture, which is the X1, right? And I was just driving through and on my way to Ghost Hollow, and I was just going through trees, man, and it was just terrific. It was just spectacular. And those are the kind of things that I love, particularly if the biome gives me some kind of challenge.
Yeah.
That's specifically what I'm really looking for.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'd have to say that even though I'm not at Microtech, I love, as you mentioned, and years ago, we remember at one point the forestry was much denser. I remember I used to go to Calhoun Point or whatever it's called, and that was a really secluded place. Then it's like the lumberjacks came in. It just like whoosh, all the trees were gone, and then they started implementing them back in. And now, like you said, even when we got Ghost Hollow the first time, frame rates were horrible when you went there. But it is balancing out now. You go in now, you don't have the problems, and it is really nice. It gets pretty dense in there too. We tried to go in with a couple of what's that thing? The AA, the new AA thing, the track vehicle that came out.
Storm.
The Storms. Yeah, we tried to go in there. Man, those things got hung up on logs. We had to abandon them. It was like really bad trying to get them in. Yeah, they couldn't get past logs and stuff because it gets dense. It gets really dense in there. So it is interesting to see when you have a challenging biome, how to get in. You may think that you're going to, we'll take such and such, then to only get there and find out that, it's not like these things are going to knock down trees. You're kind of stuck and you have to get out and start walking. So very cool stuff. Okay. Vehicles. Let's talk about that. What's your favorite vehicle? Whether it's a bike, whether it's a tumbrel, a four-wheeler, whether it's one of the transport. We'll talk about transports in a second, so stay away from transports. But let's deal with just the four wheels and the bikes. Let me go to you, Kalrati. What's your favorite and why?
Yeah, so I would have to say the CNOU quad, quad hover bike, mainly because of how well it feels to actually particularly race. I really like using it for grav-lev races. But in addition to that, I also enjoy using the tumbrel, specifically just the stock one. But other than that, I also like using the STV. STV, I don't use it as much, but I know that when I do use it, it actually fulfills the purpose that I'm looking for. That's just to store stuff if it's 2 weapons on either side. And of course, it allows me to store certain packages in the very back, and it has its own, little kind of internal storage as well. So those are the type of vehicles that I really look.
I was going to ask you, do you utilize those features that are on the vehicle? Because they have some of these bikes have storage, or they have a weapons rack on them and everything, and you do utilize those.
Oh yeah, most definitely, definitely. Because for example, that's why I'm looking forward to there being more. I remember in the SCL and ISC where I think it was James, I can't remember his name, but he had talked about the FedEx like operations. And I'm really wanting that to exist so I can make use of them. Because I think that that's where its use is going to be. It's gonna, I hope at least that its use is gonna spike up a lot, because it's a really cool ship. Mainly because it can support 1 SCU in the front, 1 SCU in the back, underneath, and those 1.8 SCUs on the side, and it has its own personal storage. So I really hope the introduction of those distribution centers allow us to make use.
Let me ask you guys a question. CIG has told us that whether this happens or not, guys, we don't know, but we know it's come up in conversations before that, for example, when you're flying a ship, there will be certain things that you won't be able to wear. You won't be able to wear heavy armor and pilot a ship, for example. And I'm wondering whether or not it'll get to a point that if you're piloting in a ship, they may not even let you wear medium armor. I know people will flip if that happens, but I'm just saying that. And I'm saying that. Jangloff, thank you for that follow. We appreciate that. I'm saying this because CIG is building all these storage things. Like if you go on my 315, this is no joke. If you go on my 315, as soon as you get on, you're going to look to the right, and you're going to see there's the coffee maker, there's the food processor. You're going to see 2 candy bars and 2 apples sitting up there. And if you look in the refrigerator, you're going to see 4 bottles of juice down there. And then you're going to go to the gun rack, and you're going to see 2 guns on those gun racks. And then you're going to see 2 pistols at the top of that. But there is also a door there that has a hanger on it, and it's a closet. And if you open that up, there's another area for ship storage. And if you go in there, you're going to see all my civilian clothes in there. And then if you go to my regular ship storage, you're going to see my armor and, my med pins and all that stuff. Now, the reason why I'm saying all this is, do you think CIG is actually going to reduce our personal inventory so that it forces us to have to use these spaces and choose what it is you can bring? Because right now, Kalrati, you can put 2 rifles on the side of that STV, but you can also still have 2 rifles on your back. Do you think the CIG is going to make it so that you can't drive with 2 rifles on your back? You're going to have to take them off and put them on the sides of the vehicle before you get in and drive? Or do you think that they'll let us still be able to carry 4 rifles with us when we're traveling?
I think eventually, but depending on all the other auxiliary systems that need to come online to kind of not make us, want to stop playing the game, it's not going to come in too soon, right? But I do think, and because, for example, I tend to try to do those things too. Even with the Vulture, when I was using the Vulture, I was utilizing or I was trying to like put myself in the situation where, okay, I would decouple myself from my backpack, my weapons as much as possible to try and kind of have an idea of, okay, am I getting tired putting this on, putting this, taking this off again and again and again? And depending on the amount of activity that I had in the area, I wasn't.
Yeah.
But I think eventually it shouldn't be too bad if they had that kind of restriction.
Okay. How would you feel about it, Nomad? If do you think that they'll still leave it somewhere in the middle, or do you think they really will go with the fact that these weapon racks are here for you to put your weapons on them?
I think they're going to commit to that. I've heard that there were problems with it. I'm sure they'll get ironed out, but yeah, I think they'll commit to that. I think that's a good idea. Yeah.
Since persistence, I started doing this. And by the way, in case y'all didn't do it, I feel sorry for you if you didn't. You guys remember at IAE last year, at the last day, they sold weapons and armor. Remember that you could buy at the convention center?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I bought 20 P6s, 20 grenade launchers, 20 railguns, and guess what? Them suckers stayed persistent. I got a ton of them. A lot of people didn't pay attention. And guess what? Now you got to go find them suckers in loot boxes. So I'm just telling you now, if they do that sale again at IA, once I knew persistence was in, I was like, you know what? I'll spend $500,000 right now to see if these suckers stay. And they have stayed. I still have them. They do not go away. So just for persistence sake. Meg, what about you? Do you think that they'll make it so that we will actually have to, you can still keep your sidearm on, but you got to take that backpack off. You can't sit down and fly. Do you think that they'll let us still do that, or do you think they're going to make us take them off?
Hopefully, we can take all of that off.
Okay. All right, fair.
I mean, we want immersion, don't we? It is kind of weird that
Some
we have
people,
all of that on.
It's weird. Some people think that's too much. I'm sure there's going to be people who think, I don't want to, every time I get off the ship, have to take my backpack off. I'm telling you, if they tell you got to wear a flight suit, that's why it's called a flight suit. Hey, I guarantee you.
Do you think that they'll change the armor that we can wear in land vehicles as well?
Okay, now you opening up a whole another kettle of fish. I'm not going to even go there.
Sorry,
I don't know. Because I don't know. I honestly don't know. That's a good question. It's a good question. We'll have to see. If somebody says CIG is going to make us take a shower and go to the bathroom, why not, right? Okay, yeah. So we'll see what happens. I don't know. Okay. All right, we're going to go ahead and get... Oh, and transports, real quick. When you've done stuff with groups of people, what's your thing that you like to transport in? Now, mind you, even though I have grounds here, I'm going to leave this available for when you're with a group of people. You mentioned earlier, for example, Meg, like taking the Valkyrie out, right? Do you use the Cuddy Steel? Do you use the Centurion? What do you guys use? Or Ursa? What do you guys use when you've got a group of people? And, it's kind of funny because I'm always interested in people's gameplay methods, right? And there are some people who can play cooperatively. Some people still play solo, even when they're playing with a group of people. So let me give it to you that aspect of, let's say when you are grouped together, you all have agreed to get in something. And I'm not talking about this because you need a ride. I'm talking about because you're doing something. What would be your pick? And Meg, I'll start with you.
Yeah, definitely the Spartan, right? That's the one that holds a bunch of people. Yeah, definitely the Spartan. It would depend on the number of people. I think it would probably go from like STV to Tumbrel, specifically like probably the one with either the gun or the extra, just the empty in the back. I think that's the normal one, but that one's kind of cheeks if that's how you use it. But the turret is awesome, and then like probably moving up Ursa, Spartan. Just like I feel like too big. Like how in depth are you planning? Like, do you want a huge footprint with the Spartans, or are you trying to do like something smaller? Because there are so many tumbrels. I found that out at IAE this past year. I did not know there were so many tumbrels.
Yep, each one has its own role. Like, yeah,
and like different signatures. I don't know if that's correct. I don't know, but yeah, the tumbrels are fire. I think the Spartan the Spartan in the group would be really cool to get full, like just like the Valk, to get that fully crewed and just look so freaking cool.
Okay, fair. Kalrati, what about you? Which for your transport?
So definitely the Ursa Rover. I haven't used it as extensively, but I still have a lot of attraction to it.
Okay.
And I still have a lot of hope that we can get some kind of medical kind of Ursa Rover version of it. In terms of, they can limit on one side, or even, just make use of the back portion, where it has a bed and have a little bit of transportation seats just next to it. But I do dig the Rover because of the amount of seats and everything, and of course it's pretty secure, with adequate firepower, particularly since we're getting into utilizing more and more of the whole ground experience. So if I have to make an okay-ish journey in my ship to POI, I have the security there, and it's not too large, not too small either, but enough to house enough people for a rescue or something like that.
Right. Okay. Nomad, how about you for transport, either vehicle or air? Which one do you like? What do you like using?
Yeah, I have to agree with Kalrati. I love my Ursa Rover.
Okay.
I use it for. I remember I got in mine and I just went in a direction on a planet for about an hour and just drove and just explored. And I really like the look of it. I just and that brings up an interesting thing, because I just realized that when I do actually do stuff with my org, I don't think we've ever used a ground vehicle. Everything is air transport, and it's like, we've never driven anywhere. But that's just the way my org works. But yeah, for me personally, I like to drive my Ursa.
Okay. Well, let me tell you, that might change, because they have stepped up them turrets.
Kusanagi was telling
Oh,
me.
yeah.
And it takes a lot longer to take them down now. So it actually would be faster to land and drive in with a vehicle. It honestly would be than it does to take turrets out now. They're no joke now. So some people might, yes, and some people might start doing it. And unfortunately, we don't. And I've been now. What we have been wanting to do, especially when we've been doing the towers over at Orison. And we keep saying it, and we always never either do it or we don't have somebody who has one. We've been wanting, and I know y'all gonna laugh, straight chat. We've been wanting to jump into Cuddy Steel because a lot of times you arrive there and the people are on the rooftops and stuff, and we like, you know what? Let's see if this thing actually can do something. And we haven't had a chance to do it, but we did it once in the Valk, and the Valk was great. So I'm still curious. By the way, guys, we need to do that, y'all. Maybe we'll do that tonight. But we want to talk about taking Cuddy Steel to see if it would actually be worth it with all those side guns and stuff to go out there and nail down people and do some suppression before we land. I would love to try it out and see what happens. So, okay, that's it on transports. Let's move on to the next category. PvE, PvP, ships and ship weapons. Let's cover the, we kind of talked about this a little bit earlier, but for your PvP, PvE, let's see, we didn't talk about, okay, let me include in that, like bunkers and stuff like that. Okay. So for ground stuff, when you guys are going into a bunker or you're doing a mission or whatever on foot, Kalrati, weapons of choice, pistol and rifle, whether you can use grenades, whatever you use, whatever you suit up with, what would it be?
So for the pistol, I always go with the LH86. For the, so since I've been stocking with grenades,
wait, you've always gone with the LH86? Did you go with it after the refix of it, or have you always been loyal to it?
Only after.
Okay, all right, fair enough. Okay. What were you using before that?
I've been using that now. It's been
what were you using before that? Before
that, I was using the either the Coda or the Uberev, right? Okay. More so on the Uberev or the I can't remember the name of the. It's a sleek, slenderish kind of gun.
Oh, the 50 cal. Come on, Chad, help us out.
I can't remember that, but that one, I've been going with that one.
I got you.
And of course, for bunker missions especially, I would normally go with the P4AR and the C54.
Okay.
I would still carry some custodian ammo. Because a lot of the Ninetales would be carrying custodian weapons, and I would just keep either S71 in my ship, in case I was using I was going into a cave, or I required some kind of long range experience, So yeah.
What else are you suiting up with? Grenades? What type of med pen, oxygen pen, detox? Right. You take anything else with you? Med guns?
Definitely all med pens, all Hemazol med pens. I would sometimes usually tend to challenge myself and just go with light armor to see how well I can last, because I'm trying to see how well I can survive in terms of injuries and stuff.
Okay.
So I would either go with that or just straight out heavy armor, especially if I'm doing the Orison missions. And then other than that, I would always go with the med gun. I would keep the my utility tractor beam in my pocket, but I would always just either pre-stock or pre-administer my some kind of administration like the Steragen and the Maxitrine before going, in case I'm hit. I already have that drugged up. So yeah, and who did something to us? Oh, subs.
Yes, DK Wildcat. Yeah, thank you, DK. Appreciate that. 22 months. Okay, cool. Do you use grenades? Flares?
Not flares. I don't trust them because where I'm going sometimes, I don't like to be
give yourself away.
Exactly.
Okay.
I don't trust them.
Fair enough.
So grenades sometimes, especially if I'm, if I can just throw something away, or especially if I'm injured, if I feel cornered, I would definitely try to use the grenades at some of those missions there. But yeah.
Okay. All right. Nomad, how about you? Any particular pistol, rifle, shotgun, any stuff like that with you? Do you take med pens, or do you prefer the med gun, multi-kit, multi-tool, whatever? What do you take?
I try to stock a multi-tool.
Okay.
I tend to want to go with weapons that are laser weapons because I am a wasteful ammo person.
So you're energy weapon person.
And,
Okay.
yeah, I am and then on top of that, I like to go with machine guns. And there seems to be a preponderance of shotguns and grenade launchers and sniper rifles. And so when I want to get like just a submachine gun, is the ratio that small? Because I could never find. I find like one machine gun. Maybe I'm just looking wrong, but everything else I see on a rack: shotgun, 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 sniper, 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 shotgun,
Yeah.
shotgun, shotgun.
Well,
You know, and I dance with glee when I find a submachine gun, and it's an energy submachine gun.
Yeah.
I'm like, yes, that's what I want.
Yeah. I mean,
You know?
they did do the thing where they reallocated weapons throughout the verse. Certain stores have certain things, and there's some stuff that's just lootable only. You know.
Right.
So
right.
you know, it is kind of like sometimes you have to check and see. Sometimes it might be out there, Crew L3 or something like that, and that's where you have to go to get it. And other times, like Kalrati said, get your storage box and go to the bunker and start, you know, loading up from there. It all kind of depends. Right. Yeah.
And I'm trying to get more disciplined with taking make sure I have med pens and proper reloads for those, because sometimes I just neglect and forget, and I have like, I have one, you know, and then so I'm trying to be more disciplined in getting that kind of thing done.
Okay. Meg, how about you? Do you take any extras? Well, first of all, pistol, rifle, shotgun, all that stuff. Med kits, what do you take with you?
It depends. Am I just getting started? Did I just die? Am I going in there prepared?
Okay.
Sometimes I go in there naked and I knock people out to store stuff.
Right.
Normally I take their FS9, steal their ammo.
Okay.
If I'm prepared, I'll take that thick tractor beam, and then I go double med guns, 3 depending on the armor size, 3 to 4 med pens. Did you know that there's a new, I don't know, but I'm pretty sure it's new, maybe like a couple patches ago, but like there's a new like red pen that's like something else that doesn't really heal you.
Yeah.
They slipped that in there.
Or something, I think, or oh man, yeah.
I've died because of that sucker. But just FYI in case.
Well, see, I don't, there were 2 different things that you guys have to correct me, because I thought that at one point they made it where med pens only stopped your bleeding and they didn't do healing on you. And then it seemed like, no, you use a med pen and it does heal you. Now, I always seem like I almost have to hit myself twice with a med pen. The first one stops the bleeding and then the second one raises my health up a little bit. But, I don't know what's going to happen with the whole med pen thing later, because I really think that med pen should only be there to stop you from bleeding. I think that's what their function should be. The hemazole should stop your bleeding. And then there still should be almost a timer to a certain degree. Because when you use some of the other med pens, and you guys know you get drugged up, there's a time frame. That thing's counting down. So if you all of a sudden can't use your right arm, you shoot yourself with the particular medicine you need, you can use your arm, but it's ticking down, and it might take 4 minutes, 6 minutes, and then eventually your arm stops working. So unless someone you go get on a med bed or something like that, to me, that's the way it should be finally fixed. So the idea of med pens being what they are, I think they should stop bleeding. But if you've dropped down to 68%, you should still be at 68%. Now, if somebody comes up to you with a med gun, I think that they should be able to do something. Or if you have a med gun, but pens should just be very focused, because I was watching Paul's show last night and they were talking about, I think HC Vertigo was saying he'll just carry pens with him all the time. And every time he gets shot, he just keeps hitting himself with a pen, and it's difficult to kill him. But if it stops bleeding, and you guys know what it takes to bring out a med gun and use it on yourself, right? That ain't no quick response. You got to take it out, get it out, put it on advance, put it on medium, push B, hit yourself, put it, there's some more work involved now, or someone else has to play medic for you and do it, right? I don't know if CIG is going to do that, but we'll see what happens. I hope CIG y'all do that.
CIG.
Yeah. So Meg, what is when you are able to suit up with? You can pick whatever you want. What's your favorite pistol? What's your favorite rifle?
The LH86 is nice. I feel like it runs out of ammo so quickly, though.
Yeah, I think it's a
those.
machine gun in the hand. That's all that thing is. Yeah.
Yeah, I like using the FS9 with the red dot sight, and the one time is it Delta? I don't remember. And then the suppressor. and then that huge tractor beam on my that goes on your
The
back.
big one.
And then I'll go double med gun, maxed out on med pens, and then I'll loot for like the green juice that goes into the paramed refills,
Yep.
and loot for more med pens. Just stay stocked.
Yep. Okay.
And I usually just go with that.
Nice. I started out with the arc light from the very beginning because that was the first thing they ever gave us, and I loved it. But then I started liking other stuff, and then the last one I've been with has been the Uberov. But now I've gone back, like you, Kalrati. Since they revamped the arc light, I'm back to the arc light now. So it is really good. So I started using that.
It is. I think it's a double fire or something like that.
Yep, it is very, very nice now. So I've gone back to that, and then I've been using, like I mentioned earlier, F71 is definitely the rifle I love on it because it comes with the scope and everything. It's ready to go. And then the P6, same thing, comes with the scope, ready to go. I'll take an AO3 also anytime, and I'll take a Uberov anytime. But yeah, that's pretty much my stuff for PvP, PvE when it comes to being on the ground. For ships, when you guys are going into combat, is there just some people distinguish ships? This certain ship and weapons is good for PvE versus PvP. Some people use the same ship for both. Let me go to you, Kalrati, first. What's your preferred ship and weapons? If you're, well, you know what? Let's see. Let's say ship and weapons. We'll combine this one, okay? For combat.
Yeah. So for PvE, because right now I've been doing some these missions, the bounty mission PvE missions there, on the very hard level. I've actually been using the Ares Ion. It's the first time I'm actually using it on live.
Okay.
And it's, based on their latest improvements, it's been really, really useful.
Okay.
And especially, one of the things that I really wanted to see it shine in was that whole sniper-esque kind of experience when it comes to, precision targeting. And then lo and behold, precision targeting is coming into the game in 3.23. So I really hope that, that ship does, single shot, high power, and potentially higher range, of course with some fall off as well, can really show how effective that kind of ship can be when it comes to precision targeting. For PvP, it's still between the Gladius, but the more I play master modes, the more I'm seeing a difference, especially with respect to going up against different persons at the same time versus one person. So it's usually either the Gladius or the F7, the F7M, or perhaps the Vanguard Ward, especially in Animo. So it's making a big difference right now. So yeah.
Okay. Interesting. Okay. Nomad, going to you on this one. Favorite ship if you're going into combat, if you know you're going to fight somebody, and is there any particular weapon you like having on your... Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't ask you about your ship weapon, Kalrati. Is there any particular ship weapons?
Oh yeah. So right now it's still laser repeaters.
Okay.
I don't normally tend to go with ballistics just yet. Okay. But yeah, just laser repeaters. So we're talking usually Panthers.
Panthers. Okay, cool. All right, Nomad. Sorry, it's on you now. Favorite ship for combat and any type of ship weapon in particular.
Okay. For PvP, I'm a chicken, so I don't usually get into. I mean, unless I'm with my org. Okay. But basically, I would just go with my Vanguard Ward, PvE, PvP.
Okay.
And laser weapons. Again, I don't want to run out of ballistics. So any kind of powerful laser weapon, whatever I can fit on it, and go with my Vanguard Ward. Either with if I'm gonna be by myself and do a PvE, or if I'm gonna do something with my org, that's usually what I jump in.
Nice. Okay. Meg, how about you?
So for PvE, I'm really liking the Ares Inferno. I use that Gatling. No weapons necessary. But for PvP, if I'm alone, mostly the F8C, with FL22s or FL33s, or sorry, it'd be both. It's both FL22s and FL33s, or the Scorpius if I have another person. And I like to put distortions on there. I forget what they're called. NDB30s, I think. And then Panthers. And
the DX weapons.
Yeah. And if there are more people than that, I really like the Redeemer for PvP.
Wow.
The Redeemer.
Wow. That's interesting. Yeah, that is interesting. Let me reverse this question back because I kind of came at you guys with a question from an angle of solo. But based on what Meg just said, Kalrati, when you're group playing, is there a ship that you like getting in with a group? Like let's say you're going to go out and do the Nine Tails or something, but you're with a group and you're all going to be on a ship. What do you pick?
Yeah. So, oh man. So I was originally, I would have said, for example, the Hammerhead or something smaller. It would have been like the Connie. But since the precision targeting mode was shown, I've been more so thinking about, okay, what's a good ship that isn't vulnerable or isn't as vulnerable in terms of having its thrusters shut off or its turrets too vulnerable and those things. So I'm still up in the air about that. And the more I think about it, the more I regress into like a smaller multi-crew ship like the Vanguard Warden, which has just one turret, but also maybe like the Hurricane and such. But if we're talking larger, then I'm gonna have to risk it and say either the Andromeda with its 2 turrets, or we're talking the Redeemer, definitely. I don't know, I can't remember where the vulnerable sections are in terms of its weak points, but once you have a good pilot and everything, then I think it's going to be a good experience. But yeah, definitely those ships.
That's interesting.
One of these days, I gotta pick up a Redeemer. I really do. I really like that ship.
That's interesting. Nomad, I'm gonna go to you. Group ship, group of friends getting together, going out to create some chaos. What you gonna jump in?
My org usually tends to gravitate towards hammerheads.
Okay.
Yeah, either hammerhead or a Carrack.
Okay.
But we tend to want to gather on a hammerhead.
Okay.
And coordinate attacks like that.
Okay. It's interesting. Nobody said the Corsair, and that was the ship that a lot of people looked forward to using in group. And even though there are people who do enjoy using it, but I'm surprised none of you guys opted for the Corsair. I don't own one, so I'm not saying I would pick one. I'm just kind of curious. The Redeemer still has its ground. For me, it's going to be the Valkyrie. I enjoy the Valkyrie. It's a tough little thing. It can take a little punishment, especially from ground targets and stuff. Fully manned ships like that, I love being able to be on and being able to do some damage with those. So that would be my pick. Okay.
What about the Retaliator?
Well, now you're getting into another area. I have not been on. Okay. Again, Meg, this was way back when. The Retaliator always had so much promise. And it was also the worst when it came to turrets back in the day. It was the worst. I mean, the turrets were, you just felt like you were just spinning around like on a carnival ride in those bad fellas. And then they started fixing them, right? And over the years, they've been making them better and better. Now, I heard recently the Retaliator is deadly. I just have not been in it and done a crude tally. But I heard it's pretty good now.
It's not to the good pilot. Same with the Hammerhead, though.
Oh yeah. You got to have a pilot. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. It's interesting because this is where cooperative play is really important, right? You really have to have somebody who's thinking about, your people who are in your gun positions and everything else. I'll tell you another ship that's a monster if you ain't careful. And don't let it fool you. It's got its vulnerability, but that freaking A2, that thing's a flying fortress. All the guns on that thing on the bottom. The bomb is one thing, but if you've got everybody in the guns on an A2 firing down, it's rough. It really is rough. So, okay. That's that. Let's see. The last question I'm going to ask you guys is, what is your favorite type of mission that you enjoy doing in the game? What is the thing, or even if it's not in the game right now, what is the thing you're looking forward to doing that you'd have to literally prepare for? In other words, you've got it, like, even if it's going exploring, you're going to have to do certain things, food, medical supplies, things like that. What type of crew you're going to need? What's the thing that you're looking forward to really being able to go into the verse and do, that you got to get yourself prepared and ready for? Because right now we know that we got persistent hangars getting ready to come in. We'll be able to store things. And like even now when you go into Arena Commander now you can do Arena Commander with friends, So you're going to have to be thinking about logistics in an entirely different way pretty soon when it comes to going out in the verse. So let me go to Nomad first on this one. Nomad, what type of thing are you wanting to do where you're going to have to prep and get ready, get all stocked up before you head out?
Oh my God, my brain just went blank. Exploration. and then I'm really looking forward to data running.
Data running.
However that's going to manifest itself.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what that's going to mean and how the mechanics are going to work, but it seems like something that's very interesting. And again, I love my MSR. I want to put it to use.
Yeah.
And that's I want to fill up those server racks and see what kind of gameplay they are preparing for that.
Yeah.
So if there's some type of preparation of those, if I have to go back and do something to those servers to
That's what
prepare,
I was
that would be really cool gameplay.
Yeah.
But that and exploration, however that's going to manifest itself.
I was going to say the exact same thing. You and I were thinking the same thing. What's going to be the mechanics behind it? It's not going to be just as simple. Obviously, CIG is not going to make it as simple as push a button and here's your data. There's going to have to be something that takes place, whether there's, cartridges or something that you got to put into servers. I mean, even though we got those little small USB thingies, I think it's going to be way more engaging and more involved in that. Because I know, like on ships, like one of the ships we don't talk about is the Herald. The Herald has all those external CPUs that are outside of it, right? And you've got all the computers on the inside. So I'm curious about whether maintenance will either have to be a factor. Like we've looked at it on components for shields and things like that. But will there also be some form of maintenance that has to take place to make sure that all those computer systems and rigs stay up to, up to snuff for you to use them? Will they fail? So it'll be interesting to see what you have to do to prepare to do that type of mission. That's a good one. Kalrati, I'll go to you. What is it you want to do in the game that you're going to have to, to think about logistics and prepare for when you go out into the verse?
Yeah, so even though I love my action, all right, I love getting a target painted on my back, I really, really, really look forward to cargo hauling. I did it extensively in Microsoft Freelancer, in the Discovery mod, multiplayer. But and that's why I really, really am looking forward to 3.23 when it comes to being able to store your freights and all those things. I'm anticipating that I can make use of my Connie Taurus and my mule. So even if I if I can drop cargo boxes from point A to point B over a short period, or do cargo hauling between longer or larger distances, I'm really looking forward to seeing how that feels. And particularly in terms of getting ready, I want to subject myself into going into dangerous territories and dropping off those cargoes to see okay, did I prep enough to not lose out on all these millions or fail this mission massively and out of the blue goes wrong? Because I'm, at least based on the questions that I'm guessing they're driving us to participate in, even though they are arguably more categories. I definitely, in terms of participating as a cargo hauler, I'm definitely more of the like Yo-Yo said last time, I'm everything. But if something happens, which I hope it does, I definitely hope it happens as a cargo hauler.
Okay. Fair enough. Meg, how about you? What's the thing that you're going to be preparing, getting ready to spend time that you really want to do in the verse?
Honestly, I've had so much time to think about this. And I feel like I don't know. Like, I think the beauty of this game is that there's so many different things that you can do. And I don't feel locked down in doing one thing.
Good.
And so with that being said, I would love to be an escort on long distance traveling, from Stanton to Terra or these other jump points. I really enjoyed, I don't like PvP, yet I really enjoyed going to Pyro and hanging out with Pops and Fist, just traveling around, like protecting them as they were on the ground, just exploring. I like exploration, or what's the other word? Exploration. It's people get the two mixed up.
Expedition.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not sure which is which, but my dream is to get an Odyssey and put a Reliant Sen in there and just travel around, explore.
Let me not break your heart. Let me break your heart.
No,
let me break your heart.
Don't say it doesn't fit in there, because I've already.
It doesn't fit, Meg. It's 1 meter. It's a meter too long. It's
Trust me.
if they adjust
Turn it sideways.
No.
Put it in there and you'll see. we'll see.
That sounds good, Meg, but we'll see.
Take a clip right now, and we're gonna run it back whenever it comes out.
All right, we will. Because believe me, I want to say I was on the same plan with you. I thought I had said, here's the perfect ship for it, right? Here's your shuttle, your ship that goes out and does the initial searches, and then when I looked at the measurements, I'm like, oh, the hangar is a freaking meter too short. So we'll see. We'll see. I hope you're right. I hope they adjust it.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, they did say specifically like that ship's not gonna make it. So yeah, we'll definitely see.
It broke my heart, though. Believe me, it broke my heart.
Yeah.
It's a good idea.
But yeah, a lot of different things. I'd love to cargo haul as well. I'd love to what's what I'm looking for? Like go find and collect different resources. Like with us getting like more and more things to craft, knowing that things aren't just useless or we should just pass this rock because there isn't quantanium in there.
Right.
Like, okay, these other things will actually mean something and matter at some point and will have worth depending on like what other, like, you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, that's absolutely.
These things. Yeah. I feel like we're getting snippets, drops of different things, and sooner or later, like it's like we're just gonna get more and more and more, and we'll actually be able to do these things. I mean, crafting alone, seeing like these different things we can craft with construction material coming, man, that was so cool. I can't lie. But yeah, definitely, I don't have my foot down right now. So
no, I think that's a good place to be. I mean, some of us do have a dream of the thing that we want to do, but then the other dream is the fact that I'm not restricted, right? And it just is. There's a world of things, pardon the expression, or a universe of things out there that I don't have to worry about as quote unquote skill tree, right? You know, if I want to do this today, that's fine. And tomorrow, if I want to go hang out with my friends and I don't want to fly, you know, I just want to, I'll help some other people. The fact that you've got that level of flexibility in the game, I think is great. As much as I have a lot of ships, but I get way more enjoyment jumping on your ship, you know what I mean? And doing engineering or, being in a turret or co-piloting. I enjoy that more than I do piloting my own ships. I enjoy piloting my own ships for my own satisfaction. But when it comes to being in the verse, I have no problem with jumping on somebody else's ship. Just what hangar are you in? Let's go. Yeah. But there are some people who want to. They want that feeling of, I want to fly my ships and I want to be the one. That's fine too. So I think that, like you said, those options are out there for players. But some of us have our dreams. We can't wait to be that person who discovers that first wormhole or the first person to set down on a certain moon or planet. It's all good. I don't think there's any wrong answer to that question. So good stuff. Okay. All right. Well, listen, we do have one question for the panel. The question is, how long does it take you to kit out your ships with your mods, your components, your weapons, and all that stuff after a wipe?
All ships?
Well, yeah, I know that could be a tough question. Well, let's just say some visual said, oh my God, hours. Okay, let's just say it's your favorite ship. Are you able to go like one place and get everything? Is it buy one at everyone? Or do you literally have to hop around the verse a little bit to find certain things and finally get everything in there?
They haven't really been wiping. So I honestly don't understand why it's taking longer than just putting stuff inside your ship at your home location.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
So usually components and stuff are still with you. You just got to get ammo and stuff like that, right? That's usually what you got to go pick up.
Okay.
I'm saying because ammo, that goes away.
Right.
Med pens go away. Med guns stay, thank God. But yeah.
You have one med pen?
Yeah, one pen. You got one. Right. So, okay. So let's just say how long it takes you to read. Like if you've got, let's say your ship is tricked out with all the components you want and everything else. Plus you got to get your food and water, all stuff. How long does it take you just on the average? Is it a couple hours, hour?
Hey, this is why you guys got to set your spawn to New Babbage, because we just got a new Kelto.
The Kelto, right?
Where you can get everything you need.
Yeah. That's true. That's very true. Our corp needs a store like that because we don't have one. I can get food and drink, but I can't get the variety. New Babbage actually has the serious store. They really do. Their stores. Oh no, Orison's got the real good store too. Orison's got a real good store. That one down there in the area where everything's in it at Kelto there is really fully stocked too. We don't have one. We don't have one on our corp, which sucks. And of course, Hurston, you might as well pick up a cockroach and eat it there. But that's another story. Kalrati, how long does it take you to trick out your ship? Any amount of time you go on average?
Oh yeah, so if we're counting the amount, so I tend to just move everything straight up to Seraphim and then customize my stuff there. So if we're counting that in,
Okay.
then maybe an hour because, okay, let's say I have to after complete wipe, no database reset, persistence isn't enabled, then it'll definitely take me about 2 hours. So yeah, at the very most, because I tend to have everything in my mind already of how many things I have to buy, how many things I need. So, and of course, right now I'm looking at customizing my Ion, my this ship, my Vulture, as well as another ship that I don't use as much, which is my Aurora MR. I still keep it as a precious one, but I just tend to buy like level C or B components for that one.
Yeah.
But yeah, most about 2 hours, including FPS items.
Okay. Fair enough. Nomad, you spend a lot of time, or do you just kind of go with the flow when you're getting your ships all set up again?
I kind of go with the flow. I could never find the stuff I need. It takes me forever to find the right ammo for the right stuff. It just takes me forever.
Okay.
So it's maybe a couple of hours.
Okay.
Travel here and there, and like it just takes me forever.
Yeah. Like I told you, it takes me a couple days. First day is just getting all the components in, moving all the weapons onto ships. Like they're still at my base at Area 18, and then the next day is flying them up into space, getting outside of a armistice zone, so I can put all the weapons in the rack and stuff and get them all in place. Then go and park them all up. Shut up, Kalrati, you grinning. And then go park them over at what's it called? But not Bajini. Yeah, Bajini. And considering that's about maybe a total of like 14 ships, maybe it takes me a little while to get them all done.
That's a process.
Yeah, but there's other ships that don't go up there. I keep them available, but those are definitely up there. Not too much of a choice.
I have a question for everybody here as well.
Sure.
Given that 323, at least based on our understanding, the hangars that can remain persistent when we leave our ships or customize them, and not customize, but we can put stuff in there. Oh, we're getting a raid.
Oh wow, Gabs! Thank you, Gabs. Hello, Gabs. How are you? Welcome, Raiders, to the Soul Citizens. Gabs, hope you had a wonderful, wonderful stream. Not sure what you were playing tonight, if it was Star Citizen or whether you were playing some beautiful music to your crew. But thank you so much for the raid. We do appreciate that, and welcome everybody. Today we're talking about Flight Ready, the things that we do to prepare to go out into the Star Citizen universe, both today and later. And again, Gabs, thank you for sending your wonderful folks over here with us. We'll try to take good care of them. Go ahead, Kalrati, I'm sorry. What were you going to say now?
Yeah, sure. No worries. So I was thinking, given that we, all of us are usually tending to move all of our stuff to the orbitals or anywhere else, given that, persistent hangars, the only place that's going to remain persistent and not temporary because they're going to be instants are going to be our home locations. Do you see yourself moving everything to those stations still, or keeping the majority there that can be just left in the hangar, and when you leave it, it won't go away or disappear or auto-store?
That's a good question. That was my assumption, but I don't know if it's true, that our persistent hangar will be at a landing zone. Is that what your understanding of it is? That's where they will be? Okay, now the reason why I'm asking is because remember back in the day, we had some landing zones that were kind of like based upon the type of hangar. Revel in York had an entirely different look. Most of the ones we have are like the Arrow View hangars, right? If they're the nicer ones. Or the what's the other one? The one that's the lower end one. That's what the other ones look like. What's the name of the hangars, guys? What's the other hangar type? Revel in York, and the one that's the gritty one. What's it called?
Oh yeah,
Selfland. Thank you, Danger Hobo. Yeah, Selfland hangars. Now, if you guys remember, you may not remember this one. There was an asteroid hangar, which I don't know what's going to happen with that. I don't know. That one was supposed to be in an asteroid. So there were three: Arrowview, Selfland, and what was that one I said?
But there was
Revel in York. Revel in York. Revel in York.
Revel in York.
Yeah. So even Microtech is Arrowview. They're not Revel in York. So I'm not sure how they're going to deliver that or when. But if they're all going to be based upon landing zones and never move to stations, I'm not saying they will. They won't. Maybe one day they will be in stations. Boy, that's a tough one. I still may do the routine. I may land only when I really need to have things that I'm going to store and keep. Yeah. Because what I'm hoping is that things like the cargo decks become active for storing things up there too. So maybe if it's not in my hangar up there, at least I can put it in a cargo deck. But that's later too. So we'll just have to see how it works out. But for now, yeah, I know there are a lot of people who load up all their stuff and take it up to the station. I mean, they literally clean out their landing zone. I don't. I take what's necessary. Now I don't. But you know what happens when I start looting? All the looting stuff I get goes to those orbital stations. So they've over time, they've all always got stuff. You know what I mean? So it's a good question. I don't know, Yo-Yo or Nomad, if any of you guys got anything to his question, jump in.
I'm confused how the hangars work. So it doesn't move, like you have to keep, like say like it's in Crusader, like if I go to Microtech, I can't go to Port Tressor and call in an instance hangar. I have to go all the way to Crusader to that instance hangar.
Yeah, I was wondering that myself.
But I think based, and Chad can correct me on this one, but based on I think what they said in the latest design doc, ISC, is that there are two types of instance hangars. There's the one on your landing zone, like when you just load into the game, new patch and everything. You can leave all your stuff in the hangar. It remains persistent. So that persistent hangar at your landing zone. You can, when you, let's say you go to another landing zone or go to a space station and you leave stuff there, the moment you exit that hangar, it doesn't remain persistent at those space stations, right? So both are instance, but those ones at the space station are temporary. So if you leave cargo boxes on the on the ground and those things, they don't remain as persistent as the persistent hangar at your main landing zone.
So how would how would the instance hangar work? Would it leave once you leave and you have to call it back in, or is it just always there? And
so it leaves when you leave, but the thing is, I think one of the questions that are still in our minds is if you left like a cargo box or anything there when you leave the hangar, what happens to it? Do we lose it forever, or does it possibly somewhere?
I see. Yeah. I'm not sure how that like once I know how all of that works. Wait, what's the question? I forgot the base question. I just kept asking.
Oh yeah, so specifically because of that, I was wondering, because the persistent hangar may only remain persistent and not disappear at your main landing zone. Are you still going to move everything to your base, or are you the clean freak where you won't be leaving things around that's going to affect you, that you won't have any issues doing everything in the temporary space station or temporary hangar at the space station?
Dang, I don't know.
Yeah, it's weird. I'm gonna have to see how the whole inventory thing still works, because there's the inventory on the station, then there's the temporary hangar that you can do some temporary things with, right? But then, like you said, that goes away. And I don't know how they're going to bridge that gap between, will I still have that general inventory at the station, or is that going to go away? Will it be just whatever's at the hangar or what's on my ship? I'm not sure.
So you would still have access to the freight elevator at that station, but in terms of leaving stuff open in that hangar, and if you were to leave that hangar at the space station, that's still a bit up in the air, because I remember the guy said that it's not going to remain there as opposed to your persistent hangar at your main.
So
are you going to move everything?
I'm still confused. I'm still confused.
Yeah.
I'm still confused. I am confused because I don't know. Like right now,
video again.
Right. I got to look at the video again, because you know what I'm saying. When I go to a station, when I go up to port, to Bajini, I can put stuff in a general, it's not in the hangar, but it's in the station's general inventory, the local, right? Yeah. Is that going to remain, or is that going away?
Right. So we don't know specifically just yet if the, just press I and just anywhere you are, it's going to just pop up.
Right.
We do know that freight elevators are going to exist at any kind of landing zone, any space station. So that's remaining the same. What's going to be different from what we understand is the persistence of leaving stuff around in your hangar, leaving it and coming back and it being there. That section is apparently only going to be at your main landing zone.
And see, that's why it's weird to me, because if that's the case, there's no reason for me to use the hangar if the local inventory still works. And that's why I'm wondering if the local inventory, it may be limited, right? Maybe they'll make it where it's limited. I can't leave, 32 SCU crates. You know what I mean? I can't leave a vehicle. I can't leave stuff like that. So I'm curious to see, because they've been talking about personal inventory is going to reduce down. It's going to even reduce down on what we can carry on ourselves. So I can't see why I can go to the station and store, 1032 SCU containers in the local inventory that, I wouldn't use the hangar at that point. So we'll have to go back and look at that. That's a good question.
Yeah.
Okay. We do have another question from the chat. This is from Charles DCI. He says, what piece of gear or ship type do you think CIG should put in the game? Anybody who wants to jump in on that, feel free. What type of ship type or gear? I know people have been asking for flamethrowers forever. But,
medical land vehicle.
Medical land vehicle. Okay.
Ambulance.
Yeah, I think this is what Kalrati talked about earlier about the Ursa. People have been wanting a medical version of the Terrapin, which I thought was interesting. Something that was a bit more armored, that would come in with that. That's an interesting piece. So
Gomab kind of touched on what I was actually going to say.
Okay.
So I was actually hoping for boosters as a whole. So he talked about landing boosters, but anything that can help me, get to a higher platform. Let's say I'm within the trenches or something, or in a canyon, and I kind of want to go up. Then hopefully, I can possibly have, these one shot or mini shot burst boosters on my gear, whatever armor that can equip on, and it will allow me to, kind of temporary boost up so I can get up onto the platform, or it can help me to kind of slow my acceleration or my velocity.
Well, that lends itself to an old one that people have been asking for years, ever since we got the ejection seat, which is called a parachute. People have always talked about if they eject an atmosphere, so what if you're gonna die? So,
oh well,
I mean, you just go down with the ship if that's the case. But that is something that people have been asking for quite a while. I don't know about any particular type of ship, because CIG kind of comes up with stuff and we don't expect it. I don't know if you guys got anything else in particular that you guys can think of to answer that question.
Submarine.
You just went down my tree. They need to make it so that the 890 and the 600 can go underwater. That's what I want. I want those ships to be able to go underwater.
Voyage to the bottom of the sea.
Somebody even said the X1. The X1 would have been cool too. See, they needed to make the X1 where the glass went all the way over you as a complete canopy. I don't know why they didn't do that, but that's a whole nother story. Yeah, I know, Jade. I know I'm dreaming. Okay. Yeah, I know that's terrible. That's terrible. Okay, well, listen, we're going to get ready to wrap things up here. But before we do, as you guys know, we are wrapping up the end of the month of February, and here in the States and also in other countries around the world, this is actually celebrated for Black History Month. And so each week we've been highlighting different things about things that have gone on in American history here in our states, where African Americans have contributed in some form. And sometimes we find about things that we have never even heard of, which is, and sometimes there's revelations, and sometimes just kind of a rehearsing of information that we know, but we always love sharing this information with you in our community. So today, I had actually something else up, and then I got this news from Fastcard today that I hadn't heard about, and that was that Floyd Norman passed away. Now, some of you may not know who Floyd Norman is, but I will tell you that you're very much aware of Floyd Norman's work. So let you take a look at it. And then we're going to put a link in the chat where you can check out a documentary on Floyd Norman, which is a very good documentary that was done on Netflix back in 2016. But let me give you a little bit about Floyd Norman, and you guys can check this out.
Who is the fairest one of all?
All of these classic Disney films, they had a huge influence on my life. Truly, it was a kid's dream come true, just to walk onto that studio lot, just to walk into that building, just to be there with the men and women who had made the films I saw as a child. And now I had the opportunity to be part of creating these films, and that was pretty cool when you think about it.
This is Floyd Norman.
When I first came to the Disney studio, They gave me a test, and one of the first things I had to draw was this guy.
He's one of a select few who help bring to life some of your favorite Disney and Pixar characters through storytelling and animation. From Mowgli in 1967's The Jungle Book to Sully in 2001's Monsters, Inc. He was also the first black animator at Disney. But he won't let you make a big deal out of it.
I never even thought about the color of my skin when coming to Disney. Everybody thought that was a big deal, like, oh, the first black animator at Disney, or breaking barriers at Disney. No, I was just another kid who wanted to work in animation, who wanted a job. I came there only with the responsibility to myself of being the best I could be, but I didn't have any thought about I was breaking down doors or, doing something no one else had ever done before.
What was it like kind of working there? Was that overwhelming at all, or I guess, was it thrilling?
It was overwhelming in the sense that it was a place where I'd always wanted to be. And by being surrounded by so many talented people, so many gifted artists, musicians and designers and writers, I mean, it was for anybody who's creative, it was just like, boy, this is the place to be. This is where it's happening. Yeah, this is more than exciting. It was just fantastic just to come to work every day.
Brian, you spent time in Pixar.
Yeah.
What keeps a company like that on top? I mean, Pixar has been the standard for animation films for so long, and they continue to just crank out really amazing films.
I think what keeps one truly creative is being hungry. I think you can never get comfortable. In a sense, I look forward to failing, falling on your face, really screwing up, because that teaches you to be humble. That teaches you that you're not perfect and that you still have a lot to learn.
Along with his work at Disney, Norman also co-founded Vignette Films, which produced other animation projects, including the original Fat Albert and the iconic Soul Train logo. Flash forward to today.
Look for the bare necessities.
Norman has been with Disney long enough to see his iconic Jungle Book story retold for a modern audience. The 2016 live-action version of that story made nearly $1 billion in theaters worldwide.
I love the fact that innovation is not dead. Everything that's great about animation continues today with a new generation of storytellers, and they excite me. It makes me wish I was 21 years old again so I could take this ride a second time. But I realize, you only go around once. I've had my ride, I've had a good time, but I think the future still looks promising.
Alrighty. Did you guys know about Mr. Norman?
I did not.
No?
No.
Okay. Cool. Yeah. He just passed away, and like I said, Fast Cart sent me that today, and I only knew about him because I remember the story about him working at Pixar, and we had talked about this last week because I didn't know that Pixar was actually started at Lucasfilm with George Lucas.
Yeah.
For some reason or other in my head, I was thinking it was something else, and so it was interesting to hear. And this documentary was on Netflix, but I just put the trailer in the chat there for you guys, so check it out when you get a chance. Very interesting history of seeing someone who went from traditional animation into actually using the animation that has now become the industry standard, particularly at a company like Pixar. So God rest his soul, Mr. Norman. We love all the work that you always done. All of us grew up on this stuff, so great stuff to see. Okay. Let's see. Let's talk about what we've got coming up next week. Kalrati, would you talk a little bit about Thursday, please?
Yeah, so sure thing. So we have on Thursdays Soul Talk at 9 p.m. Eastern, where we look at all the things that CIG has broadcasted, be it SCL, Inside Star Citizen. We look at all the posts on Spectrum, everything like that, and then we also voice our thoughts on those. So we have a whole crew, whole cast, and of course, everyone is welcome to come and talk, share their opinions on what they think about ISC, if you've watched, SCL, what do you think about those as well? And yeah, so that's it on Soul Talk. So tune in for that with Fastcart being the host.
Okay, good. And Yo-Yo, would you talk about Soul Voices for me Saturday?
Yes. Soul Voices is on Saturday at 3 p.m. Eastern time. It's more of a one-on-one conversation. All are welcome to join in on that. Normally talk about community posts from Reddit, Twitter, Spectrum, and then got to do Captain Serious Fun's talk about how the podcast leads into Astropub and then Relay. But yeah, y'all come join on Soul Voices on Saturday.
Absolutely. Thank you. And then last but not least, guess what? Next Sunday is the Soul Citizens going into our 4th year anniversary. And you guys get to come and join us. We are going to be here talking about fun things that have happened over the past year, things we're looking forward to for this year, show some clips of some of the craziness that's taken place in our wonderful conversations we've had here with you. And we're going to be doing giveaways next week. We're going to be doing a ton of giveaways next week. So be sure to be here, because believe it or not, we're going to be doing giveaways like within the first 5 minutes of starting the show. So you guys want to be here for that. Guess what's being what Fast Cart's offering up, Kalrati? Take a guess at what he's offering up.
His merchantman. He's definitely offering up his merchantman.
How did you know? How did you know he's giving away his merchantman? No, actually, that's not what's going to happen.
Extraordinary.
What we are going to be doing next week, though, is Fast Cart had a package with Squadron 42 laying around, and people have been like, man, what happened to Squadron 42? I didn't get it. So if you didn't get Squadron 42, make sure you're here next week, okay? Because we are going to be giving away a Squadron 42 package, so you won't have to buy it later at the fine retail price of $79.99 later on. So make sure you're here for that next week, okay? But that's next Sunday, 8 p.m. Eastern time. Bunch of the Soul Citizens will be here. We're going to have a lot of fun next week, and hopefully you guys can join and help us celebrate our 4th year anniversary. Okay. Other than that, that's it. I think we had a great show tonight. Meg, tell people where they can find you.
You can find me on Twitch at yoyoMeg. I usually stream Monday through Friday at 4 p.m. Central Time. And then the weekends, I kind of stream all day most of the time. Otherwise, you can find me here on Soul Citizens or on Twitter at I am yoyoMeg.
Awesome. Nomad, where people can find you?
You can find me on Twitch at twitch.tv/nomad1701. And I stream occasionally during the week. I played various different games. Been promising to jump back into Star Citizen more, so you're going to see that more in the next couple of months. But yeah, that's where you can find me.
Awesome. Kalrati, where can people find you?
Right. So you can find me right here at Soul Citizens on Twitch. Of course, you can type up my name, Kalrati, on YouTube. I post a whole bunch of different things right now. Of course, I'm just playing and finishing off on Dead Space, so I sometimes post some clips there. And of course, you can find me on Spectrum. Reach out to me. Any questions that you may have, I'm available there too. So yeah.
Okay. Awesome sauce. Okay. Well, we are getting ready to set up our raid, and it looks like we are going to be raiding. This is going to be someone new that we've never raided before. Spazzy McGee. Spazzy McGee. So when you guys get over with Spazzy McGee, I think he's on the hunt for the Idris. So hopefully you guys will stumble across that, and maybe they'll find the Idris. People have been looking for it all weekend. But hopefully you guys can get over there. Let them know when you get there that you came from the Soul Citizens. So you like them, of course, follow them, support them. And until then, we look forward to seeing you guys next week. 4th anniversary, don't forget. Until then, don't forget peace, love, and soul. Take care of yourself. Stay safe. We'll see you soon. Ciao.
Bye.
Good night.